IT. You can see me. You can see us? Okay. Now I want to test the sound. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Thank you. Colonel Alex Mwachande, we would like to welcome you to the inquiry of the Parliamentary Ad hoc Committee, which is investigating the plane crash that took place on 10th of June 2024 at Ntungwa and led to the loss of lives of the former Vice President, Dr. Saros Klaus Chilima, and 8 others. You received summons to give an account of the role that you played, and that's why you're here. You are the first witness that we're going to examine online. So we may have to skip some of the formalities because I understand the Zoom is only for 40 minutes. If we don't complete our examination, we may have to log in again for another 40 minutes.
Okay, sir.
All right?
That's
Good.
fine. Yes,
So in my presence are members of the Ad hoc Committee. I don't know whether you can see them. They're on my right-hand side.
yes.
And on the left-hand side,
I see them, sir.
on the left-hand side is the Secretariat. All right, and
Yes, sir.
I'm flanked by the Vice Chairman of the Ad hoc Committee, Honorable Dr. James Mpunga, and he's raised his hand up. I'm also flanked on the left by the Deputy Clerk of Parliament, Joseph Mansi. If you may just raise your hand up. And I'm the chairman of the Ad hoc Committee. My name is Walter Nyamilando Manda, an MP from Sanje Southwest.
Thank you, sir.
Colonel, just to inform you that we are live, as much as we are online with you, but we are live. We are broadcasting live on Parliament TV, on YouTube, on Facebook, and other media houses that are available in this room. And to seek your preference of communication, what language would you prefer to communicate? Obviously not Mandarin, because we know where you are. But what's your preference?
English and Chichewa.
Fantastic. Okay, so we will interchange depending on how flexible you are.
Yes, sir.
Colonel, as the base commander for Zomba Air Base, you were responsible for overseeing operations at Zomba Air Base, from where the aircraft that brought us here today was prepared and dispatched. Your testimony is expected to provide detailed information regarding pre-flight preparations, aircraft servicing and inspection procedures, operational clearances, and compliance with established Air Force protocols that were undertaken by you or anyone under your supervision. To be more direct, you received summons, and the summons are very clear. I will not take much time reading the summons because you have them with you in your possession. And would like you to testify on what you know and respond to the summons. But before we do that, it is important that you must take an oath. We will have to find a better way of you taking an oath, but you will have to respond online based on what will be read to you. So may I request Secretariat just to switch on the mic, read out the oath, and then he will be responding. Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can you repeat after me? I,
Yes, sir. I,
your name,
Alex Kenneth Mwachande,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
by the Almighty God
by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence I shall give
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colonel Mwachande, for your cooperation to do this online. You're now free to make your presentation. We have received copies. You can read. You can read or talk through your presentation, depending on what's suitable for you. You may proceed.
Yes, sir. At 12:50 hours to position at Chileka for a flight that was scheduled to take off at 1500 hours on the 9th of June 2024. The crew of the aircraft were Colonel O.L. Sambalupa, captain of the aircraft, may his soul rest in peace, Major F. Selemani, who was the co-pilot, may her soul rest in peace, Major Wells Aidini, who was the engineer on the aircraft, may his soul rest in peace. The flight on 9th June 2024. Though the aircraft was supposed to take off at 1500 hours from Chileka, there was a delay of almost 1 hour. The aircraft took off from Chileka at 600 hours and landed in Mzuzu just before the last light at 1732 hours. However, the crew reported very bad weather in Mzuzu when they were reporting about their destination. The request for VVIP mission by the operations officer for an aircraft to carry the Vice President of the Republic of Malawi from Kamuzu International Airport to Mzuzu. The estimated time of departure was 0900 hours on 10th June 2024. Due to the fact that there was only one aircraft flying at Zomba Air Base, the same aircraft, Tango 03, which was in Mzuzu, was scheduled to fly to Kamuzu International Airport and pick the Vice President of the Republic of Malawi, Right Honorable Dr. Saulos Klaus Chilima. Using the same crew of Colonel O.L. Sambalopa, Major F. Selemani, and Major Wells Aidini. The VVIP flight of the 10th of June 2024. The aircraft MAF Tango 03 departed in Zuzu to Kamuzu International Airport in the morning of 10th June 2024 and picked the Vice President and departed from Zuzu at 0917 hours. From Kamuzu International Airport, 02 hours. And it was reported that the aircraft did not land at the expected time. When this information was received, communication lines and coordination was established between the Department of Civil Aviation and the Malawi Air Force to establish of what had happened to the aircraft. And also the Rescue Coordination Center was activated. The search and rescue teams of the Malawi Defense Force and the Malawi Police Service and the Department of Aviation joined together in the search for the missing aircraft and concentrated their search in the Chikangawa forest in Zomba district because there was information about signals of a cell phone of one of the passengers of the aircraft being picked by a mobile phone tower at Raipla in Zomba district. The search continued into the night of the 10th of June 2024. The Zomba Air Base team, comprising of Brigadier General Chikangawa, who is a pilot, Colonel James Dokwe, engineer, Major Tim Seka, engineer, Captain M. Malamula, pilot, Warrant Officer Class 2 Jones Maonga, engineer, Sergeant Chifundo Makulu, engineer, and Private Chipanda, a photographer, traveled to Mzuzu and joined in the search of the missing aircraft. The wreckage of the missing plane was found in the morning of 11th June 2024 within Chikangawa forest, and all the 6 passengers and 3 crew lost their lives. May all their souls rest in peace. Training of crew at Zomba Air Base. The base has provided as much training as possible to its pilots and engineers. However, when MA-600 aircraft, this is an aircraft which was acquired by the MTF in 2022, started flying, there was a demand of extra pilots and engineers, and the same professionals who operated both Donia 228 and MA-600 aircraft were also assigned to both aircrafts, but with intensive online training on both aircraft for the pilots and on-job training and evaluations for the engineers. On the 10th of June, this is the same day which the base was given a mission to carry the Vice President of the Republic of Malawi. There was an MA aircraft which flew to the Democratic Republic of Congo to pick our soldiers home. I'll skip paragraph 9A and paragraph 9B. Then I will continue at paragraph 10, recurrency of pilots. Annual recurrency training is done locally, and it is the responsibility of each pilot to do medicals as part of the requirement of the annual recurrency check. However, simulator training, when requested, has been postponed due to financial constraints. In my conclusion, on the same day, on 10th June 2024, there was a demand of an aircraft to carry the Vice President of the Republic of Malawi from Lilongwe to Zuzu using a Donia 228, and there was also a demand of an aircraft to carry our troops from DRC and bring them home using the MA-600 aircraft. The national demand for air access at Zomba Air Base has increased over the years and is not in line with the investment the country has been carrying out at Zomba Air Base and the Malawi Air Force in equipment and human resource. This was evident when Zomba Air Base faced a very serious challenge to find the most suitable equipment and air access to carry out the search and rescue operations in Mzuzu on 10th June 2024. Thank you very much, Chair. That was my opening statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colonel. We could hear clearly your presentation. Members may have a few questions to ask, so I'll open the floor to members. they will be introducing themselves, the constituency where they come from. You may be required to have a pen and piece of paper next to you, because they may be giving you maybe multiple questions, so that you can respond in good time. Thank you. I open the floor to members. I recognize Mwanza Central.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, Colonel. I have a few questions.
Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning. Good morning. Colonel, I have a few questions. The first one, I think I need the clarification. In the in your statement that you submitted to the Board of Inquiry from the military, you indicated that the plane departed at the 15 hours. But I see here you are saying the plane on 9th June departed at 16 hours from Chileka. I think just to check which one is correct between the two.
When we received the request for this aircraft, the family gave an indication that the aircraft would depart at 1500 hours. But the aircraft delayed in Chileka. It did not depart at 1500 hours. So the 1500 hours is there as an indication which was planned for this flight. But it stayed on till 1600 hours.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to check that. And in your report here, paragraph point number 2, the flight on 9th June 2024. It reads, the aircraft took off from Chileka at 16 hours and landed in Mzuzu just before the last light at 17:32 hours. However, the crew reported very bad weather. And I'm reading your statement that you submitted in the military inquiry. I checked if that statement of very bad weather is appearing. Any reason why on this statement that you submitted today, you have indicated the crew reported very bad weather, and the same is missing in your report that you submitted on 25th June 2024. Thank you.
The change is due to the terms of reference of the two boards. I received summons that we had to indicate our operational effectiveness and readiness. So I had to include the situation which was reported to us when the aircraft had landed in Mzuzu. So that's the only reason why the report is a little bit different from the one which was submitted to the MTF due to the terms of reference of the two committees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you confirm, Colonel, that the two submissions are different in that respect?
Yes, because of the terms of reference, because we received summons, and in my summons, they specifically indicated what they are expecting of me to submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My last question, Colonel, you are under oath. You are under oath. Did you have a conversation with the crew at any point airborne?
The crew.
Any of the crew members?
When they arrived, yes, I'll answer you. When they arrived in Zuzu, they reported. They always report, especially the engineer will always report to tell us the condition of the aircraft. So there was a report which was channeled through the operations officer. But in the morning of 10th June 2024, I had a conversation with Major Aidini in Lilongwe. We had a small, short conversation. Everything is fine. We are leaving at 9 o'clock. that was the conversation we had. Thank you.
I'll repeat the question, Colonel. I'm asking, did you have a conversation with any of the crew members, airborne, not on the ground, but airborne?
Airborne.
Yes.
No. We do. The crew will only have conversation when they are airborne with air traffic controllers, not someone who is in administration who is on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colonel. That's all from me, Chair.
Thank you. I recognize Blanta Malabada Ndirande.
Thank you very much, Chair. Ismail Nkumba, the MP for Blantyre City, Ndirande Malabada Nyambado constituency. I have 2 or 3 questions. Colonel, good morning. My first question.
Good morning, sir.
My first question. Please describe your responsibilities as the base commander of Zomba Air Base, especially on the 10th June 2024. The second question, what role did Zomba Air Base play in preparing the MAF Tango 03 for the mission involving the Vice President? Number 3, I wanted to find out when you had communication from the crew members when they had returned from Zuzu, did you have an opportunity to relay the information of bad weather to the office of the Vice President? Thank you.
My responsibilities as base commander at Zomba Air Base on the 10th of June 2024. I will go back a little bit. On Friday, on the 8th of June 2024, I was not feeling very well. This was a Friday. So I went to the hospital in Zomba and they diagnosed me with an infection. It was a chest infection. So this was a Saturday, the day I went to the hospital, on the 8th. On the 9th, I also went back to the hospital with the same problem. And on the 10th in the morning, because I was not feeling very well, I called my Air Force commander that, sir, I'm not feeling very well today. I'm going to work from home. So he accepted because the problem had started 3 days earlier. But at 11 o'clock on this day, I received a phone call from the operations officer who said, Donia 228 has not arrived to its destination. So I dressed into my uniform and I went to work. When I arrived at work, the officers and the Deputy Air Force Commander had already started consultation meetings between ourselves to ascertain what has gone wrong. I joined in these meetings, and then I was given the task that we should inform the soldiers, but also at the same time, we should go and give information to the families that we have aircraft which was carrying the president of the vice president of the country to Zuzu, and it has not reached its destination. So we informed the soldiers. I personally went to see the families to inform them. And then we had to make a follow-up meeting to ascertain as to what should be our next action. We had a serious challenge to find the suitable assets to go and carry out the search and rescue operation in Zuzu. The distance was a problem. Having said this, there was another aircraft, MA600, which was flying from DRC to Blantyre. And by around 12 o'clock, a decision was made that it would be easier to travel by air than to travel by road because it would be faster. So we had to wait for this aircraft which was coming in from DRC. Then in the afternoon of this day, after consultations, a team was established to go and assist in the search and rescue of our aircraft in Mzuzu. This team traveled through Chileka International Airport. So this is how I'll answer your first question. As per the role of the Air Force, which it played, I just want to come back to you on this one. This is the role of the Air Force which it played on this particular day in providing an aircraft to our Vice President, right?
That's correct.
The Air Force has been receiving a lot of requests for flights to provide platforms to carry out different missions for different departments, different organizations, but also our VVIPs. The role of the Air Force was to provide such equipment when it was requested on the 10th of June 2024. However, we had only one aircraft. And this aircraft was already in Mzuzu. So there was coordination between Zomba Air Base and the crew to ascertain the serviceability of the aircraft. During this flight, this particular flight, because the aircraft was out of station, the onus was on the flight engineer who was on the aircraft to do the pre-flight and give authorization for the aircraft to fly, that it was in a serviceable condition. This was only his part for the serviceability of the aircraft. Having satisfied ourselves that this aircraft was operationally ready, we gave a go-ahead that it can go to Lilongwe and carry out this operation. I think I should stop there because this was the role we played as Zomba Air Base to provide a serviceable aircraft, and it was ascertained that the aircraft was serviceable for this particular operation. Thank you.
There's one more question that was not answered.
Repeat it again, sir.
My third question was concerning if you had relayed information concerning the bad weather you had received from your crew, that they had experienced bad weather on the journey from Lilongwe to Zuzu. Did you relay that information to the office of the Vice President?
The information that there was bad weather in Zuzu was not directly related to the office of the Vice President, but it was relayed within our institutions that the aircraft, when it was landing in Zuzu, had a serious encounter with bad weather. Thank you, sir.
Chair Nzonzi, and then we go to Dowa Kasangazi.
Thank you so much, Chair, for granting us the people of Ncheu constituency to ask a question to Colonel Alex Mwachande. Colonel Mwachande, the committee understands that every Friday, base commanders submit reports about state of aircrafts to the Air Force commander. My question is, what kind of report did you submit to the Air Force commander on the 8th June 2024, a Friday before this tragic accident? Can you share it with this committee? The second question is, can you provide this committee with the technical logbook of the Donia 228? Thank you so much.
Can you respond? Were you able to hear?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Through the Honorable Chair, every Friday indeed, the base submits serviceability logs, serviceability status of our aircraft. On Friday, 8th, I might not have the serviceability report here with me on the ground, but what I can say is, if there is any fault on the aircraft, the technical department which issues this serviceability report indicate what problem is on that particular aircraft. In this case, the serviceability report of that Friday on the 8th was a report that was indicating that the aircraft was serviceable. But prior to 4 days or so, the aircraft had a problem, and the problem was sorted out. So it could have been that the serviceability report of 8th could not have indicated this problem because it was solved. And the technical department provided a serviceable status of this particular aircraft. Thank you. This is the first question.
Okay.
For your second question, can you repeat it, please?
Okay. The second question was, can you provide this committee with the technical logbook of the Donia 228? Thank you.
The logbook of Donia 228 Tango 03 was destroyed during the accident at Chikangawa. Thank you.
So I'm mindful that we have received.
But I can add, at the technical department in Zomba, all the leaves of the logbook are removed and kept in a file before the next flight. So all the information pertaining to this aircraft, all the documentation is in Zomba. But only after the aircraft had left Zomba for Chireka, proceeding to Nzuzu on the 9th of June, this is the information which was destroyed together with the aircraft at Chikangawa. Thank you. Go ahead, Honorable.
Yeah, Kena, I'm mindful
Yes,
that we.
Honorable Chair, go ahead.
I'm mindful that we have received an alert of 10 minutes ago. That was a while ago. So 10 minutes to go before the Zoom line cuts off. We're probably running out of time.
Okay.
So just to prepare you that if the line is cut, we will require you to log in again.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Sir.
So
Okay.
do Wakasangazi.
Thank you very much, Chair. Keno, I am George Jefferson Katspatike, Member of Parliament for the Wakasangadzi constituency. And I have a few questions for you. Number one, when the plane was leaving Zomba on 9th June 2024, were you aware that it had a 40 emergency locator transmitter with a battery that had expired according to the BFU report in the year 2004?
Yes, Honorable.
Number two, what was the significance of the emergency locator transmitter on the plane? Number three.
Yeah.
Number three.
Okay.
When did the Malawi Air Force become aware
Yes, sir.
that the battery in the emergency locator transmitter had expired? Because the nation became aware that the plane had an expired battery after the accident through the BFU report. But when did the Malawi Air Force become aware that this plane had a 40 emergency locator transmitter? Thank you very much.
Honorable Chair, the emergency locator transmitter on Tango 03 had expired. But in actual sense, this type of emergency locator transmitter had become obsolete, meaning the company had stopped making emergency locator transmitters of this type. So when it had expired in 2004, for us to acquire another one, we contacted the manufacturer and we were told that they have stopped manufacturing this type of ELT. But instead, the manufacturer had come up with a service bulletin. And in this service bulletin, it was a complete design of the emergency locator transmitter, flight data recorder, and the cockpit voice recorder. It was in one package. That was the new design. So if we had to get an ELT, we also had to get the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. A quotation was forwarded, but the amount of money maybe could have been on the higher side that we did not get proper funding for this one. To answer your second question about the significance of
We need to wait until he logs back. Yes, you can continue. But is it possible? I don't know what. Are you using a phone or your laptop? If you can shift to landscape mode, because the portrait is very narrow.
Let's just continue.
No, 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 no.
Is that okay?
You're looking fantastic. We can now see you clearly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can proceed.
As per the significance of the locator transmitter, the locator transmitter is a very important equipment on the aircraft. It will tell you when the aircraft has crashed. It works on G forces. As the aircraft hits the ground during a crash, it activates. Then it will send a signal. And every aircraft which passes by or who tune into this signal, they'll pick up where the aircraft has crashed. But to its significance to the safety of the aircraft in terms of the airworthiness of the aircraft as it is flying in the air, it is not that significant. Because for the aircraft to be airworthy, for someone to say this aircraft is serviceable, it can go and fly. Every manufacturer, every designer of the aircraft gives a minimum equipment list saying, in my aircraft, for it to be serviceable, it must have this, 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 this. As a service engineer, or as a certifying engineer, or as an inspector, when the aircraft has got a fault on any of these items which have been given by the manufacturer, that this is the minimum equipment list, that aircraft will not fly. It will not go into the air. Because its airworthiness is being compromised. ELT is an important equipment, very important equipment on the aircraft, but it's not part of the safety of the aircraft. That's the difference. Both very important, but for the aircraft to fly, it needs this minimum equipment list. Thank you. As per when was MAF aware? MAF was aware way back, I think in 2006, somewhere there, that the ELT is obsolete. The manufacturer is requesting that if we are to replace this ELT, we have to buy, it's the whole package. It was a new design, which included these other items which I mentioned before. Thank you.
Is that a follow-up question or
Just a follow-up. So you have indicated that the administration was aware in the year 2006 that the battery had expired.
Yes.
But at that point in time,
Yes.
they were unable to, or they neglected to replace the ELT.
I wouldn't say neglect as such, because there was a challenge of the financial past. This package, it came with its own quotations. So for the funding to be submitted to the Air Force, maybe it could have been a problem. So that could have been the challenge. Thank you, sir.
So Colonel, just to get more clarity, you have said that the ELT became obsolete over time,
Yes.
because for you to purchase the ELT, you needed to purchase as a full package with a black box, which contains the voice,
Yes.
the data recorder, and the flight cockpit recorder.
Yeah.
Now, can you
Yes.
clarify to us that under the Chicago Convention, was it going to be possible for you to purchase the ELT and the black box? what was the impediment? Was it the Chicago Convention rules or the funding? Because we have meant to be told that under the Chicago Convention, military aircrafts are not supposed to be fitted with this black box. So can you just clarify, was it a funding issue, a forex issue, or the Chicago Convention?
In this case, when this aircraft was being bought in Germany, they make it optional. Either you buy these other items we've mentioned, the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. It's optional. But also at the same time, our aircraft being military aircraft, it was not compulsory on us to buy these. With time, in Europe, they made it mandatory for an aircraft to fly in Europe to have these aircrafts, which were optional at that time, but now they were no longer optional. They were mandatory. Now, when our EAOT expired, becoming obsolete, and we needed to replace it, when we contacted the manufacturer, he brought now saying, no, we don't sell this EAOT on its own. We don't just sell the EAOT. We sell the EAOT, flight cockpit, voice recorder, flight data recorder, and other avionics items as one complete package as a service bulletin. When this was invoiced to us, this is now where it became a financial problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chair. Coroner, I have a supplementary question on the ELT, but
Yes.
I'll ask in Chichewa because I saw the comments on the Facebook page. I think some people are not really conversant with what an ELT is. Ndieno ndimafuna kuti ndifunse kuti ELT imene ikutchulidwa kwambiri chifukwa yatchulidwa kwambiri yakambidwa kwambiri ELT kodi imagwira ntchito yanji pa ndege ikugwirizana ndi kugwa kwa ndege kuti ndege ikhoza kugwa chifukwa chokuti ili ndi ELT yopanda batire zikomo
ndiyankhe chonchi muchichewa ELT okay muchizungu timati emergency locator transmitter muchichewa ningati kalondolondo chinthu chimene chimapereka signal kukuwuzani kuti ine ndagwera pano nde chinthuchi chimakhala mu ndege mucha nthawi zonse ndege ikuuka chimakhala mmene mucha nthawi yopanga service chimapangidwa service andi kupanga service kwake chimayasidwa chikayasidwa kuzomba kuchileka akhoza kuziwa kuti signal imeneyi ndi ya ELT ndege imeneyi yagwa kapena iyayi andi sichimayesedwa wamba chifukwa chimapereka signal yokuti ine ndagwa ndagwera pano so ntchito yake chimayamba kugwira ntchito pokhapokha ndege yagwa pokhapokha ndege yagwa nthawi imene kapena ningapereke example ya airbag mgalimoto mwina kuti airbag imaphulika pamene yapanga impact galimoto ELT imayamba kugwira ntchito pokhapokha ndege yagwa force yokugwa ndege ija imapangisa kuti ELT is pange activate iyambe kugwira ntchito Ndi magwiridwe ake antchito a ELT imatumiza signal. Ndi wina aliyense amene amapanga pick signal ya ELT, amene amapanga za ndege wamtawa kapena ndege ina iliyonse imene ikudusa kumawa amene signal yafikira amadziwa kuti kwakuti kwa ndege. This signal is identified as only an ELT signal. Signal imaziwidwa kuti signal ya ELT basi. Choncho ELT ima antchito poka ngati ndege yagwa. Chimene ikanatithandiza ELT ikanati inalipo kunali kutithandiza kuti tipeze nsanga mapyanza athu, tipeze nsanga pamene panagwera ndege yathu. Ndi chimene ikanatithandiza ELT ikanati sinapange expire. Ndikuona ngati kapena pamenepo ndalongosola. Zikomo kwambiri.
Ndathokoza kwambiri kuti mwalongosola bwino kwambiri. Chifukwa panali mafunso ambiri pa Facebook ankhani ya ELT. Ndiye naona kuti tikambe mchichewa chonchi kuti imveke bwino. And mmene mwalongosoleramo mwalongosola bwino kwambiri kuti no aliyense wamva kuti kodi ELT ndi chani. Zikomo kwambiri.
Zikomo.
Kasungu North, is it supplementary?
Thank you, Chair. No, new questions. Yes, Chair.
Okay, so I'll allow you. Ordinarily, I would have said let's continue with the others. I'll allow you, and then prepare. You're also on a supplementary. Mulanje North supplementary. So we have. Can we get the supplementaries out of the way so we clear ELT? We shouldn't go back to ELT. Let's get the supplementary out of it. So Mulanje North. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. The ELT, almost all the previous presenters have maintained that it has nothing to do with the safety or the airworthiness of a plane. However, in an event that a plane crashes and there are survivors and there is no ELT, chances that their safety may be compromised. I mean, they may lose their lives because they haven't been found in good time. So wouldn't we say, even if it's not part of the airworthiness of an aircraft, but still it has something to do with the safety of the passengers? Thank you.
On that one, I will agree with you. That is why the designer put it in the aircraft. So that when the aircraft crashes, it should be found as soon as possible with the help of the ELT. On that one, I will agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Supplementary.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to learn, Colonel, that the ELT, is it amongst the essential package such that the manufacturer puts it when the plane is coming, whether it's military or non-military, and such that is it an option or is it an optional? Because you have talked about the black box, which you said in military terms it's optional, and the manufacturer doesn't necessarily put it there. So for the sake of the ELT, is it also amongst the optional or non-optional? I just wanted you to clarify on that one. Thank you.
The ELT is not optional. I will not put it as optional. It's not optional. It's something you must have on the aircraft, but it is not an airworthiness item on the aircraft. That is where the difference is. Thank you.
So, Chair, thank you.
Yes.
So, Colonel, we could say in easy terms, ndige munchichewa, ELT ELOT si vuto kuti ndege singauluke chifukwa choti ilibe ELOT. Koma opanga ndege ananena kuti ELOT pamene tinaona kuti ndege tamaliza kupanga ELOT kuyenera ikhalepo kaya ndegeyo ndi amilitale ngakhale isakhala kuti ndi asilikali. Tinene choncho Colonel.
Ndipange separate pakati pa military ndi not military. Let's understand nkhani za military aircraft. You wouldn't love to have your aircraft crashing in the enemy territory and it is telling the enemy, I've crashed here. So there are some other things in the military we don't have to have. But as an aircraft designer, they put the ELT in the aircraft. Because some aircraft have got dual use. They have got use by the military, but they have got also use by the civilian. But for the military, an IoT might cause a problem when your aircraft crashes in the enemy territory. Thank you, sir.
Zomba Tondwe.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good afternoon once again, Colonel Mwachande.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Dumisal Nindani, representing the people of Zomba Tondwe, and a member of this committee. Colonel, maybe if I would say that there are always upgrades in aircraft maintenance, which are issued through service bulletins, as you rightly said earlier on, and that we may not be fair to continue to refer to outdated service bulletins. Like in this case, the Chicago Convention happened long ago, and yet along the way, the ELT as an equipment later became mandatory. Would I be wrong to say that?
No, you're not wrong to say that.
Thank you so much. Chair, I'm trying to say that the element of saying it was designed like this was an odd theory, because as time was going, the ELT became mandatory. It's just that probably we were, maybe as a country, we didn't move with the times, but it's a mandatory aspect. And I may wish to agree with the...
I just want to add...
Yes.
I just want to add, as you are putting it, as a country, every country, every group of nations, every region, they've got their own regulations. So they apply to each one of those. And in our region, in our country, the ELT status, especially the flight data recorder and the other equipment that they are put together in the service bulletin, follows into this. Thank you. You can continue, sir.
Thank you, Colonel. When you say in our country, are you referring to the civil or military rules?
Military ones.
Thank you. I wanted that to be clear. So, Chair, I'm trying to suggest that this talk of saying the aircraft, military aircraft are designed like this is no longer true, and I agree with him. Two, I wanted, if possible, maybe to close, okay, maybe just to comment like exactly what he said, to say that in the case of this inquiry, if the ELT was installed on this aircraft, it would not take more than 30 minutes to locate, not even 30 minutes, because it starts transmitting light on spot. It was not going to take 30 minutes for us to know that the former Vice President, may he so rest in peace, and team crashed in Chikangawa. Would you agree with me? That would not take 24 hours or so.
I would not agree very much with you on the time limit, but I will agree with you. The ELT could have assisted us quite a lot.
No, I was referring to locating where the aircraft crashes. time may depend on.
It could have assisted us a lot to locate them.
Thank you so much. So that's a significance, Chair. And I wanted, Chair, just to list this case, if you could save us with the service bulletins for reference by this committee. But I think, personally, Chair, we've discussed a lot about this issue. But I wanted to put it on record that it's not like it's not mandatory, because rules changed along the way. 2006, it's a long time ago. And I mean, actually, the Chicago Convention that's being referred to happened decades ago. Thank you. I don't know if you may allow me to continue with other questions, because you said we should comment on the ALT first. Thank you.
Supplementary, but can we close? I hope this is the last one on EROT.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Keno Mwachande. Mbuyo monse mundamva bwino nkhani ya EROT until the last ujeni nde zikukhala ngati zikundisongonizaso maganizo kuti kodi ndimvetsetse. So mukhoza kugwirizana nane nditanena kuti EROT imafunikira kwambiri mu donium kuti ikhalemo, ndipo inuyo ku military mudapempha kuti EROT muyikemo mu ndegemu, koma chifukwa cha ndalama kuti boma silidakupatseni ndalama EROT sidayikidwe mu ndege mmene. Mukhoza kugwirizana nane ntanena choncho?
Exactly. That's why I was saying we went to the manufacturer to give us a quotation to replace this equipment.
Ndieno fusolotsa.
The quotation which came.
Fusolotsa tinalonena kuti mwatilongosolera bwinobwino, ndipo ndimamva kunena kuti EROT ya masiku ano imabweranso ndi black box limodzi, kusonyeza kunena kuti boma linakakugulirani 2006 linakakugulirani EROT yophatikiza ndi black box bwezi mu donium mmene muli EROT ndi black box limodzi zonse. Ndi choncho?
And it is made mafuna.
So kwambiri Chair, ndimafuna ndimvetsetse pamenepo.
So pakufunika clarification ya kudi zimene boma linakana kugula mu ndege o ku military ma equipment ina EROT basi sinali responsibility ya boma kapena ya inu ya military kugula ma equipment ena ndi ena. Chimavuta kuti EROT isagulidwe, chinali boma basi limakobiri semapanga approve mesa military imekhandi budget yake. Inu zimakukanikani pa ndalama zimene muna inazo kugula EROT zaka 10 15 zonsezi, pamene zinthu zine magula mkholopolo, magula mifuti, majombo, uniform, mukunduza zoona kuti vuto naye anduna a finance pamene budget holder inali inuyo makanika kugula EROT chifukwa cha makobiri pa ndalama zimene tikumvazi. Timakufuna Mungu kutitsimikizira pamene popo.
The Honorable Chair, aviation is expensive. Let us all agree, aviation is about technology. This is science. So it is expensive. As I've also indicated in my
Simukumveka, I think network kutawa. IT, I think palivuto ya network. Network siri bwino nde tukupempha ndi muyankheso fuso mene network ikabwera koma situkumvana.
That demand for use of aircraft, but the investment I can directly relate this to a financial aspect. I'll give you an example.
Sorry, network yanu ina tower ndesi tinamve kuyambirira kwa mene mayankhira. Bwanji muyambeso kwa una tower.
I said kuti Aviation is expensive. It is technology and it is science. So it is expensive. If you have to run aircraft, you must have proper funding. Now, as I indicated in my presentation, in my conclusion, I said that the national demand for aircraft in Malawi has been increasing over the years. Imagine on the 9th and the 10th. On the 9th, there was a flight to go to Zuzu. On the 10th, there was also a demand for an aircraft to go to Zuzu. There was also demand for an aircraft to go to DRC. That was only in a window of 2 days. So this shows us that there is a national demand of air assets. Having said this, I then say, with this demand, with the investment the country has been putting into aviation through the Zomba Air Base and through the Malawi Air Force, is not in line. The investment is very minimal. That is why it hasn't been easy for us to acquire an IAOT. I'll give you another example, Honorable Chair. In 2017, one of our aircraft, a Donia, a very serviceable Donia, was found out that its engines had expired. The aircraft engines, after running for 1,800 hours, 1,800 hours, our Donia aircraft, when the engines run for 1,800 hours, whether the aircraft is serviceable or not, but because of quality control with strict adherence to standards on aircraft maintenance, this aircraft was grounded, though it was flying, because the engines have to be removed from the aircraft and they are sent to overhaul. We send our engines overhaul overseas to the manufacturer. At that time, in 2017, the cost of these two engines was $350,000. In 2019, these engines were still on the ground and the cost had gone up to $400 US. In 2021, these engines were still on the ground in Zomba. The cost had gone up to $741,000 US. Today, sir, 9 years down the line, these engines are still in Zomba and the cost has gone up to over $1 million US. That is how difficult it is to keep aircraft flying at Zomba Air Base and in the air base. Thank you.
So Mwambiri, a chair sana yankulevo, a vice chair.
Ziko Mwambiri chair. Keno, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, I think ndigwirizane ndi anzanga kuti nkhani ya IoT komanso ya black box takamba nthawi yayitali. Komabe kwa ine ndimafunabe ndifunsebe mafunso awiri okhuzana ndi zimenezi.
Go ahead, Oda.
Ziko Mwambiri. Nkhani ya safety komanso military issues kuti ndege ikagwa sitifuna kuti tiitane adani kunena kuti tagwera pano bwana muzatione. Kuti nchifukwa chake IoT imeneyi ya mundege imene tikukambira naye inayikidwa pa off position. Funso yamba likhale limenelo.
EAOT, when the aircraft is flying, a serviceable EOT will always be put at arm. It's always at arm. So this one was off because the EOT was obsolete. Thank you.
Ndifunsabe kuti kodi ngati inali obsolete kuti sikugwira ntchito, panali chifukwa choti tichose pa arm kuyika pa off.
But I think in this case, it was the sequence of operations. The ELT was not serviceable. So if we put it at arm, it means that's not being honest with what is on the air. But in this case, it's a choice of whoever is making the checks, whether to put it at arm or off. But if it was chosen that it must say at off, the main reason why is because it was off. But it must always be on. It is always on arm.
zikomo kwambiri kusonyeza kuti inayikidwa pa off muna chama 2006 umo mene munanene kuti inakhala obsolete.
Yes.
Zikomo kwambiri ndiye ndipiteno ku black box zulo nafunsa funso lomweli kwa jeno amene anabwera chakumazulo ndi munapoti anthu tinatopa tayiwala zimene tinafunsa ndi zimene tinayankhidwa. Ndinafunsa kuti ndege iyi tikukambira naye imene inagulidwa ngati VVIP plane ndi choncho kapena kuti itabwera kuno tinayichita reconfigure kuisunthasuntha kuti isandukeno ya VVIP. Tinagula VVIP kapena tinayichita reconfigure?
Inali ya VVIP.
Zulonso ndinayikidwa choncho ndiye ndinazafunsa kuti ngati ndege imagulidwa ngati ya VVIP kusonyeza kuti ma civilian ife tinakatha ndithu kumakwera timadziwa tizikwera ndife ma civilian komanso nkhani zina koma osapangira manuva anu aja mmapangira akunkhondo. Ndiye ndimazifunsa kuti kodi ngati imabwera ngati ya civilian izanyamula ma VVIP ya civilian nchifukwa chani munalibe black box? Ndifa timachita conclude zulo kunena kuti bwanji acheya nkhani ipoti sikumveka bwinobwino bwanji tifufuzebe. Ndiye ndimafuna nanunso mutithandize kuti kodi ngati inali ya civilian izanyamula ma civilians nchifukwa chani tikunenabe kuti nchankhondo chimenechi sichimene kukhala ndi black box imeneyi. Tatimasulaninso pamenepo.
Ndege imene imagulidwa, the manufacturer and the seller prescribed flight data recorder, cockpit voice recorder as optional. It was optional, as optional equipment. So this aircraft, when it was coming to Malawi, it came without this equipment. Over the years, the manufacturer issued advancements in its designs as service bulletins to improve on the design, to improve on the performance of the aircraft through service bulletin. Now, in this case, the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder was presented to us with a quotation as mandatory in the European Union, but not mandatory in this part of Africa where we operate in. That is why this aircraft does not have these items. It came like that, without black box and without flight data. It's not going to
zikomo kwambiri keno ndimakula chichewa kuti anzathu akuzomba inu ndine anthu atimve kweya wingi kucha komano ndifikano ku chizungu ndimafuna ndichite tachi ma areas ya crew komanso aircraft. Ndi kumbali ya crew, what can you say about the competence and experience of the captain in command Sambalopa, late Sambalopa, and the co-pilot late Flora Selemani? I've read somewhere what you said, but I just wanted you also to repeat what you said or what you think of the competence and the experience of these two officers.
Our pilots are very experienced, and their competence is of high standard. As I was just saying in my presentation, the increase in air access demands to Zomba Air Base is also a reflection of the trust that those who have traveled and have used our assets have in our professionals. There's a direct relation here. In this case, Colonel Sambalopa had vast experience on the Donia 220. He was even flying on the MY600 as a captain with vast experience. He was an instructor. He's the one who has been training our young pilots. Very experienced. With Flora Selemani. Selemani was also an experienced pilot. She was put on training for a certain period and was being trained and drilled by a very experienced Captain Sambalopa. So as a team, as a crew, they were experienced to carry out this mission. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Keno, you also mentioned, to put it in another way, that the experience of Keno Sambalopa, the competence and the experience was unparalleled. That's why I wanted you to also say what you have said. Thank you so much. So the crew, you would say that it was very experienced, competence unparalleled. To also quote you and others who have come before you, the aircraft were airworthy, was airworthy to fly. The third factor that I was looking at was the weather. So the crew we have ticked, the aircraft was airworthy. Issues of weather, I'll still go back to Keno Sambalopa to say was a very competent pilot, and had been flying through that route, Lilongwe to Nzuzu and back for many years. He was a trainer, and he had just also gotten his stripes. I think it's written somewhere, meaning he knew the path that he was flying. I'm surprised that in these bad weather conditions, he was flying below the approved 9,000 feet, or is it 7,000 feet, and taking a route that they don't normally take. You don't normally take. Sometimes when the weather is not good, you go towards the lake. So I just want to understand, how could this very, very competent pilot in command and a very, very competent co-pilot fly so low in these bad weather conditions? This trainer. So I just wanted also to speak to that. I've touched the three things. The last one is the weather, but I've also attached it to the competence of the co-pilot as well as the pilot. I submit, Chair.
On the flight of the 9th of June, when they flew into Nzuzu, it was reported that they had encountered severe weather on their way to Nzuzu. And the decision to take off in the morning of 10th June 2024 to Lilongwe was perceived that the weather had improved. But weather is weather. It changes any moment. When they were going back to Zuzu, I don't want to speculate. I will not speculate of the decisions that were made, but all indications are indicating that the weather had deteriorated severely. Maybe this could have prompted the crew to find ways of trying to carry on with their flight into Zuzu. Maybe that is why they had gone down and continued flying into Zuzu. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe just for you also to confirm, the ADI, is it the attitude Chachan detector, had just been replaced, and that one was functional. The terrain proximity function was also working on this plane, and the warning and control panel, it was also working, meaning that if they're going close, I've been disconnected?
Yeah, we've lost him. not lost him like in Chikangawa. Disconnect. You're back on. I'm hoping this will be the last session. We have 40 minutes. Can we try and conclude within this session?
So Chair, I was, Keno, you are there? Keno, can you hear us?
Go ahead, Honorable.
Okay. So I think I was also just confirming.
Yes, I can hear you, Honorable.
Thank you. I was also just confirming, Keno, that the ADI was working, meaning they could also tell the altitude at which they are flying, because we are told they could even fly so low to the extent that people who were down, they could see them, they could see the passengers in the plane, very low, just above the trees. So I just also wanted you to confirm that the ADI was working. The terrain proximity function was working, and also I was saying the warning and control panel, something that could also tell them to say you are too low, was also working. I just wanted you to also put this in context. Where all these instruments are working, they were still flying too low. I submit, Chair.
The aircraft was serviceable, especially on the control panel, on the warning panel. On the warning panel, it will show you what is not working in the aircraft. But on the warning panel, it showed there was no problem with the aircraft. The ADI was serviceable. The aircraft was tested and it was certified that it was serviceable. So, the aircraft was serviceable. It was okay. Thank you.
Let me recognize the lady. Men have been dominating.
Okay.
Yeah. Kasungu North.
Thank you, Chair, for giving the chance to the people of Kasungu North to ask a question. The question is just one. I had many, but my colleagues have already asked. My question is to the Colonel Mwachande. What lessons should be learned from this tragedy? What lessons should be learned from this tragedy? Thank you.
Can we answer that at the end? That's a very important question. So I'll keep that towards the end. It's a very important question, if you don't mind, Honorable Kasungu.
Thank you, Chair.
You know, take it towards the end as we are winding up.
Oh, I'm Beatrice Mware, Member of Parliament for Kasungu North. Yes.
Okay, it's clear. You take it towards the end when you're winding up.
Okay, Honorable Chair.
Okay, so I have Zomba Tondwe and Dedzamayani. Then we should be wrapping up.
Yeah, Chair, just for your information, I've not asked my questions, but I'm following your guidance that I had to comment on the AOT, restricted to the same. And in this case, I hope I'll be restricted to this as well. Colonel Mwachande, would you just confirm that the warning in the Donia had an audible voice? That it makes a disturbing sound to the pilots that they can't miss the warnings? With reference to the
Yes.
terrain avoidance system. Did you get my point, my question?
Yes, Kenna, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yes, I think we are giving you a last round of questions, so we should be wrapping up. We've got Zomba Tondwe.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, Colonel, welcoming you back. I wanted you, Colonel, to confirm that the audible sound is quite noisy when the terrain avoidance system is working, so that pilots cannot miss it.
Yes, this is the one I'm answering, that the Donia 228 does not have a built-in.
Okay.
The one which is available is the one on the GPS. So it's possible it could be, the GPS could be in that function where it will give an audible signal or not. But as an aircraft, Donia 228 doesn't have this equipment you're talking about. But it is in a built-in GPS.
Okay, maybe in the interest of time, I would ask your other colleagues, but I wanted that because most aircrafts are equipped like that. Anyway, I wanted you, Colonel, before you go, because these were probably happening at your level. How do you keep records of pilots and engineers? For example, licenses. Do you keep copies of them while they keep their licenses at home? Or while pilots fly with their licenses, do you also keep, as an office, copies of the same?
The pilots fly with their licenses. But the records are kept at the flying department.
Thank you so much.
With the engineers.
Okay, I'm asking that
Same
because...
with engineers.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I expected. But I was asking that because in the BFU report, it's reported that the crew, some of the paperwork or qualifications of the crew could not be found because they had been destroyed during the accident. And we were asking ourselves, what about the copies at the office? So you have answered it. Chair, you may have to pursue it further because they keep records. Secondly, as I wind up, in the interest of time, Colonel, you mentioned that while you were in Zuzu, you got a report through Ops Department detailing. Okay, I wanted you to share with us as a committee contents of that report. I submit.
There's a Mayan, that should be the last one.
Thank you very much.
When the aircraft lands, it has arrived at its destination. The crew gives the status of the aircraft. They report on the status of the aircraft. How was the flight, the status of the aircraft, and impending missions if there will be any.
Thank you.
So this is the content of the report.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chair, just to confirm with him is if the names that have been given here as a team, a search team, the names that are here, are they the only names or you had beefed up the team with other soldiers from somewhere? Are these the only names that came from Zomba?
There were soldiers from Moyale barracks that were doing a search and rescue in Zuzu.
My interest is on
the main chunk. This was the main body of doing the search and this is the body that helped to find the aircraft.
What I want to
the team that was dispatched from Zomba.
Thank you so much, Cornel. I wanted you to. I'm sorry, I'm like rushing my questioning because of I'm worried about the time. But I wanted you just to confirm that these names are the only names that came from Zomba, because you've given us a list of names. The other ones were from Zuzu. These are the ones from Zomba. Would you confirm?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Saveo Kafafa, Member of Parliament for the Zamayani constituency, and thank you, Colonel, for your presentation. My question is basing on the chain of command in the military. Where do you normally get your instruction from? I want to know who commands you, and in terms of the 10th of June or the 9th of June, where did you send your command to? So I want to know where you got the message from and where you sent the message from in terms of the chain of command. That's the first part of my question. Thank you, Colonel.
The chain of command from base commander, it is to the Air Force commander. Malawi Air Force commander, then to the MTF commander. With regard to aircraft, which was dispatched on the 10th, that was the normal chain of command. Thank you.
So when you received the message or the command from the Air Force commander, you sent it to who? From you, where it went to who for the flight to occur?
For the flight to occur, the crew were informed that there is a flight to go to Lilongwe pick the vice president to Nzuzu.
The crew.
The command of this type of operation, because the aircraft was out of station, there was also another parallel line of command that they were also talking with the crew. The crew had to be told because they were out of station. But the base also on its part carried also its instructions with regard to the serviceability of the aircraft and its operational readiness. Thank you.
I want you to be very clear. Were the pilots using your commands, or they were also receiving some commands from somewhere?
In aircraft, it's centralized command, and we call it centralized command, but decentralized execution. So the command is centralized. So this was the centralized command that was also in direct contact with the crew of the aircraft because of the time of the flight, one, but also at the same time the aircraft was out of station. But also at the same time, the base was also having a channel of communication with the crew to tell them with regard to what is supposed to be done on the following day. Thank you.
Let me reverse my question. If they had a problem, whom were they supposed to report to? Because it's like they are receiving commands from two different sources.
The commands go through the chain of command of the base commander. So if there was a problem with the aircraft, it was the chain of the base commander which was supposed to be informed. This is the normal chain of command. This is the way the chain of command of this particular aircraft was done. However, because it was out of station, and with the limitation in terms of time, there could have been a direct command between the crew and the chain of command within our system. That is where the separation is, because the aircraft was out of station. But the normal chain of command, even if there was a problem with the aircraft, it was going to come through the operations office of Zomba Air Base.
So in other words, you want to submit to this committee that there might be some instructions either direct from the Air Force commander and maybe even from the commander of the Defense Force. Is that what you wanted us to assume?
As I've already said, it is centralized command. Aircraft can be commanded by the highest office of the forces. That's the centralized command. because there are some details that they might have to be told. Not through the normal chain of command, this one which we are talking about, from the base commander to the Air Force commander to the MTF commander.
Should we call it the way? Should we call it that kind of the pilots getting instruction from multiple sources or levels? Should we call it normal or abnormal?
Zomba, the reason why it is centralized command, it is not to get that confusion, to have instructions from multiple sources. That is why it is centralized. Zomba Air Base is at the execution. It is an execution level. It is at an execution level. We execute the orders from above. So we are given orders. Our orders are given to our pilots. But in this case, this aircraft was out of station. So apart from the orders coming from the Zomba Air Base, it was also orders that were also given as centralized command of the highest office of the Defense Force.
So as a commander of the base, you were not in total control. Is that so?
No, we were in control. The base was in control, but you are talking of particular orders. These are particular orders, not orders to do with this aircraft. Its operations. Those orders were through the base. They were through this channel from base commander to the Air Force commander to the MDF commander, and back. But I don't want us to do away with this other side of command, which is centralized command on military assets. It is there.
Okay, Chair, my last part of why I was asking that background, I wanted to learn from you as the base commander. If a pilot meets, let's say, bad weather, or he has something, and I learned that whenever you are giving a command, it's called a mission. So because this is a mission and they have to complete the mission. So if they want to what you normally call in military terms to abort the mission, can they make that decision on their own? Because they have been commanded as to be on a mission, and they have met something that they want to abort the mission. Who is going to give them the command that now you can abort the mission? In other words, in applying to the June 10th situation, if they had met what we could call very bad weather and they wanted to abort the mission, how will that aborting be worked like? Will they do that decision on their own, or you were supposed to say, please come back as a commander? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable. That decision is solely on the crew of the aircraft. That is why it is decentralized execution. It is done in such a way that those doing the operation, those carrying out the mission, must have the freedom to make decisions depending on the situation which is on the ground. So that decision was solely on those who were executing the mission. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Colonel. And maybe just to test a few questions, particularly on training. You have stated that item number 10 on recurrency of pilots. Annual recurrency training is done locally, and it is the responsibility of each pilot to do medicals as part of the requirement of the annual recurrency check. Simulated training, when requested, has been postponed due to financial constraints. So there's been a question of training of the pilots. Can you clarify when you say simulated training has been requested but postponed? When was the last time that they did the simulated training for the Donia? One. On the same, when was the last time that they did their medicals? Because you're saying the medicals the medicals was their own responsibility. So just for record purposes, we need to understand the state of the pilots, whether they were medically fit or whether they had sufficient training, particularly on the simulator. The recurrence training is obvious. They were doing it locally. But the simulator training and the medical test, can you just enlighten us?
The training, the instructors, they go for simulator training in Germany. And when they come back, they carry out recurrency of the other pilots on the ground in Zomba. For one to do recurrency, it means they must have a valid medical certificate. So the fact that they've been able to do recurrency, it means they've been able to do their medicals regularly, as it's supposed to be. That is why they are able to do recurrency in Zomba. The instructors who check these pilots on this recurrency, they go to Germany to do their simulator training. But sometimes you need simulator training tomorrow, for example, as per the schedule and as per the status of the training institutions of the base. We might not get the required financial assistance as per that requirement. It can come later, and as a result, you end up having a backlog. But that one is sorted out because the instructors are the ones that train the others. But this simulated training, it could have been better that it is given now and then as per the time it is needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another fundamental question that we haven't asked, maybe you will help us to clarify. Well, this aircraft, did it have sufficient fuel? Where was it fueled? Do you know how many liters was fueled? We need to make sure that our records are right and the information we have is also correct. Can you talk about fuel? Where was the fueling done, and how did it have sufficient fuel as well?
The aircraft was refueled at Kia, ready for this mission. They had sufficient fuel on the aircraft. It was refueled. It was refueled at Kia. It had sufficient fuel.
Do you know how many liters? How many liters? What was the endurance?
The endurance, I couldn't say for certain, but I think it was about 4 hours endurance. I couldn't say for certain because these are figures, so I don't want to set figures which I'm not sure about. But it had enough fuel. The aircraft had enough fuel, Your Honor. They had fuel because they had fueled at Kia. That's why they had enough fuel.
So I think for our record purposes, for reporting purposes, we need to have access to the fuel logs or receipts. It could be from the filling station, but it would be helpful if you can help us to have access to how the aircraft was fueled, to be able to verify endurance and other matters that are being talked about.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Honorable.
My last one, Colonel, is just to on the same AOT, the information circulating, and I want you to verify that, is that these doniers were bought by Malawi government a long time ago. I'm not sure about the specific, by Air Malawi, and they were used as commercial flights from Blantyre to Lilongwe prior to being handed over to MDF. And eventually they were handed over to MDF, which suggests that when they were being bought over, according to this story, when they were being bought over, they had the black box because they were being used as commercial aircrafts. So can you just clarify if you have the historical background? Do you have the historical background? I'm told at that time the chairman was John Tembo, late John Tembo, chairman of Air Malawi, saw wisdom to buy these aircrafts. Were used as commercial aircrafts from Blantyre to Lilongwe. After some time, they were handed over when the need arose to Malawi Defense Force. So the issue of whether these aircrafts, when they were coming here, we've lost them.
I'm here. I
Good.
can see you.
So we need to close the case, the issue that these planes were fitted with a black box or not. That's why I'm raising it. So
Okay.
can you comment and shed more light so we can close this matter?
First of all, these aircrafts came direct from Germany to Zomba Air Base. They started with small aircraft. It was a DO 27. Then they exchanged and brought in new ones, DO 28. Then they sold them and brought in new ones, the Donia 228. So they were new aircraft. And this is how they came, as I discussed with you before. They came without these items we are talking about. They were never, ever aircraft that belonged to anybody else. They came in as brand new. And they did not come at once. There was one which came, the first one came in, and then the second, they were coming at different years, with the last one which came in 1989.
No, thank you very much.
They were never called for anybody else. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Keno. You know, the inquiry is also meant to bring clarity and bring closure to this case. So there are so many theories and rumors circulating. So we will ask you questions that are not necessarily our opinion, but we're trying to answer certain questions from certain quarters. So we take your explanation, and we can proceed on the basis of what you have responded.
Thank you.
Keno, it's been a pleasure having you, particularly being the first one doing it virtual. It demonstrates that if there are any other witnesses that are not able to come in person, we can do this session virtually. And so we appreciate your cooperation. You may have final comments to make, and then you can respond to the question that was made by Kasungu North.
The lessons learned, the main lesson learned is we must invest in our aviation in Malawi. At Mzuzu Airport, for example, there are no landing aids. But it's an airport that is constantly used. So the lessons learned is we must invest in aviation in Malawi. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Wherever you are, we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
You can sign off now.